Chapter 1. A Desire to Teach the Scriptures. Peter Vermigli was born on September 8, 1499, in the city of Florence, Italy, one of the most important European centers for art, literature, and business at that time. His father, Stefano, had a profitable job making and selling shoes. Stefano and his wife, Maria, had been praying for a child for a long time. When Peter was born, Stefano was 43 years old. Peter's birth filled his parents with joy. They gave him the middle name Mariano, probably in honor of Mary, the mother of Jesus. After Peter, the Vermiglis had two more children, Felicita and Antonio. Peter's mother taught him to read and write both Italian and Latin, the language of ancient Rome that was still used in schools and churches all over Europe. When Peter grew a little older, his father sent him to a tutor who taught daily lessons to young people. Sadly, Maria died when Peter was 12. It must have been very painful for him. Peter was a bright student. He also enjoyed attending worship at the local church, where he assisted the priest and helped to keep the church clean. In the meantime, he tried to learn as much as possible about the Bible. His dream was to study the Scriptures and teach them to others. Stefano was not happy with Peter's wishes. He probably wanted his son to earn a lot of money, marry, and raise a family to continue the Vermigli name, but Peter never changed his mind. After Peter turned 15, his father finally gave him permission to enter a monastery in the small town of Fiesole, 5 miles northeast of Florence. A monastery is a place where churchmen called monks or friars live together to devote their life to good works and prayer. Usually when people joined a monastery, they changed their names to mark their new life. Peter changed his middle name from Mariano to Martyr, after another Peter who had died a martyr. He used this name until he died, and many of his friends simply called him Martyr, so we will use this name for the rest of the story. Martyr continued to study hard and took full advantage of the monastery's library, the best in the territory of Florence. After 2 years, his superiors, impressed by his intelligence, sent him to the University of Padua in the north of Italy, one of the most ancient and prestigious schools in Europe. There, he studied for 8 years, perfecting old subjects and learning new ones, including Greek and the works of early Christian writers. Around that time, a German friar named Martin Luther was making news all over Europe with some writings that challenged the authority of the Pope, the head of the Roman Catholic Church. Martyr probably talked about these issues with other students, who were some of the most brilliant minds at that time. After his graduation, Martyr was ordained a priest and began to preach in different Italian cities. His dream of teaching God's word to others had come true. He was a good preacher, and people loved to listen to his sermons. At the same time, he was sad to see that many people knew hardly anything about the Bible, while many church leaders who had great training and experience preached only when they could get honors and riches. Christ's sheep are either starving or poorly and badly fed, he wrote later. Usually there is preaching only during the brief period of Lent, 40 days before Easter. During the rest of the year, the churches devote themselves only to processions, shouts, songs, and music, without a word to edify the poor people. To teach the Bible correctly, Martyr knew it was important to study it in the languages in which it was originally written, Hebrew and Greek. He had already studied Greek in Padua. In 1530, when he moved to the city of Bologna, he hired a Jewish physician named Isaac to teach him Hebrew, and he studied hard for 3 years. In 1533, he was sent to run a monastery in Spoleto, about 130 miles south of his native Florence. In his new position, he was able to do more to make improvements in the church and worked with other church leaders who shared his concerns. About 4 years later, however, he was moved again, this time to a monastery in Naples, about 100 miles south of Rome, where his life changed forever.